Hello everyone, this is Melissa Faust from stampwithmelissa.com here. Today I am so excited to share with you how to do the Scrappy Strip technique. Now this technique was introduced by Bruno Bertucci. He is a demonstrator in Australia, and it's essentially this background here using up some of your scraps of cardstock or DSP and other papers. So today I want to use the Nothing's Better Than bundle, which is in the current annual catalog, and if you're watching this on the day it's released, you know that tomorrow, May 4th, is the brand new annual catalog, and it is carrying over, so it will be in that catalog too, which means it'll be around for at least another year, which is awesome. But I'm using the cute little cocktail here to make this adorable card today. So let's go ahead and dive right in, and I'll show you how to do this Scrappy Strip technique. Here we go. All right, to start off, here's all the paper that you'll need, and all of the measurements will be in my blog post, and the link to that can be found down in the info box below. But I've got this scrap piece of basic white here. Really, these are all scraps, but this one I want to save later for these sentiments here. I've got the Magenta Madness circle, and then I've got all these little tiny scraps here. These are Coastal Cabana, Magenta Madness. Ooh, let's see if I can pick them up, huh? Bumblebee. And then of course we've got our basic white here, and these colors were inspired, I think it was the Global Design Project had something recently with these colors. I thought it was very pretty, very summery. Then I've also got this layer of basic white. This is what we're going to be doing the technique on. And then we've got this piece of Coastal Cabana and the basic white card base here. So I'm going to set these two to the side. And then what you want to make sure you have here is a silicone craft mat. And you can see mine is pretty sticky right now. And that's because it attracts all of the adhesive. So you can see I'm rubbing my finger over it, and those little adhesive spots are disappearing because it repels it. Sorry, just had to shake it off. But you're gonna wanna make sure you have this because some of your glue might go over the edge and you don't want it to stick. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna bring in your layer that you want the pieces to be glued down on. So when I bring in the original card here, you can see that in between these little gaps is white. So that's what this basic white layer is being used for, and then it's going to be mounted onto the Coastal Cabana, which will then be put onto the card base. So these are all little cardstock scraps that I already had. They all range in size from about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch. And they're longer than the full cardstock piece, which is good. That's what I want. We can cut them off later. But you'll just need, you know, some scraps or whatever. So you can grab those laying around. Otherwise, if you don't have any scraps, you can go ahead and cut pieces from your cardstock. So I'm gonna go ahead and open my glue here, and this is just such an easy technique. So I'm gonna put some glue on this strip, and then I'm gonna stick it down, making it flush with the edge here. And if it's not completely flush, that's fine, because as I said, we'll cut it down later. So, and you can just have so much fun with this. So I've got that first basic white piece down. Now maybe I want to do some Bumblebee, and you can have a lot of fun with your creation here. And as I mentioned earlier, you can also use up scraps of any paper you have. So our designer series paper is great too. I know I personally have a really hard time getting rid of my scraps. I recycle all of my scraps. So I really like this technique because it gives a lot of those scraps a use. So you can see I'm just kind of doing, you know, there's no rhyme or reason here. Just kind of sticking them down, and I am leaving the gap in between each piece is about equal. Now my strips here, I tried to cut straight or grab pieces that were cut straight. You don't necessarily need to have straight pieces. You could cut them like diagonal. Whatever works for you, whatever you've got, you can use in this awesome method. All right, I'm gonna speed up the video as I finish up this card. Alright, and I am down to my last strip here. Obviously it's too thick to fit here, so what I'm going to do is just kind of try to keep some of that adhesive closer to this edge, just to make sure it actually sticks down onto that cardstock. Like so. And now that that's done, I'm going to pick it up and show you. This is what the back looks like. So all of these pieces will cut off, but I want to let that glue dry a little bit first before I bring my trimmer to it. So I'm going to set this to the side. And while that dries, I've got a scrap piece of basic white here, and then I've also got my Tuxedo Memento black ink and the cocktail image from the stamp set. I'm going to go ahead and ink this up and stamp it on my scrap here. And then I've also got several of the filler images from the set. So I'm going to show you this cool technique too. So I've got my Coastal Cabana ink here. I'm going to go ahead and open that up. And I'm going to ink up the lower part of the filler for the cocktail. Like so. And then I'm bringing in Pool Party, and I've got Pool Party here because it's kind of a similar but lighter hue to this Coastal Cabana, and I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to ink up the top half there. So you can kind of see, it's harder to see right now, but those are two different colors there. And then what I'm going to do is stamp that inside the glass. And I think it just kind of gives it a cool look there when they're a little bit different. All right, next I've got my Magenta Madness here. And I'm going to open that up and do the umbrella. And then I've got my Bumblebee here, and again I'll open that up and I'll go ahead and do the lemon. Alright, now that I've got that all stamped, I've got the coordinating die here, and I'm going to go ahead and place this down. Now I have a tip for you here. Because we don't currently have a magnetic cutting plate, I use a little piece of washi, and I actually just like get my fingers on there just to kind of dull down how sticky it is. But I line up my dies and then I just kind of stick this piece of washi here. You could also use like a post-it note, and that just holds it in place while I die cut it. So I'm gonna go do this through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I'll be right back. All right, look how cute that turned out. So then I'm going to go ahead and take this scrap piece, and I've got my two sentiments here. So it says today is a and kind of day. And I've got my Coastal Cabana ink back in here. We'll open that up, and I'm just going to stamp these down onto this scrap and then cut around them. And then I'm bringing in my background. And to trim off this excess, I'm going to use this mini kind of guillotine style of cutter from Stampin' Up. This was a join offer, I believe about 1.5 years ago, so we don't currently sell these. You could use your trimmer or even a pair of scissors also. But what I am going to do is line this up and slowly cut off all the extra little bits. Isn't that such a neat background? Now that that's ready, I'm going to go ahead and bring in all those other pieces from my card. And we'll start by mounting the background to the Coastal Cabana layer. Alright, now we'll go ahead and close this and give it a nice crease with the bone folder. Like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some dimensionals to pop the scalloped circle up on. And I have a tip for you. When you are done using dimensionals on the normal sheet, the edges also work great. They are just as sticky. You just need to use your scissors to cut them up. And they work great as dimensionals too. So if you didn't already know that, make sure to get all the use out of those sheets. I know dimensionals are so much fun to use. So now that I've got that on there, I'm going to go ahead and pop this up right about there. And then same thing with my little cocktail. So these I'm going to cut right about in half, like so, to use for the lemon and the umbrella. And then I'm going to try to fit the whole rest of this piece. Can I do it? Nope, not quite. All right. So we'll fit that there. Peel these backings off. And then I'll stick that down to my card, onto that circle. All right, and then here, what I want this to look like is to sit right about there, and so I want it up on dimensionals. And so on this half, I'm gonna put 1 dimensional, but on this side, I'll need to put 2 because it's laying on this circle piece, which has already been popped up on a dimensional. So I'm gonna show you how I do that. So this is the side that will be 1 singular, right? So it's opposite there. I'm going to use that last little bit of dimensional I had from that one sheet. And then I've got my little mini dimensionals here. And I'm going to go ahead and pop one on, peel the back off of it, take another one, and stick it right on top. Okay? So then I've got those on. I can go ahead and stick this down. And then the same thing with this piece here. There we go, and now we're not quite done. We're almost there, but we've got to add some embellishments, and I chose to use the matte black dots because, well, they're my favorite, and they work really nice with these colors. So I'm using the putty end of my Take Your Pick tool to pick up the embellishments and place them down. All right, and there's our completed card. Didn't that turn out great? And here's the first one. Thank you so much for watching today. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. That'll let me know you'd like to see more content like this from me. And go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And when you subscribe, hit that notification bell. That'll make sure you're notified anytime I post a new video. Once again, measurements for both of these cards are down in the description box below. You can click on my coordinating blog post. That'll have the pictures, supplies, measurements, all of that good stuff. And if you need any of the supplies used today, I would really appreciate if you checked out my online store. If you live in the US, you can check it out. It's open 24/7, so anytime you'd like. Some of the supplies are also listed down in the description box below for your convenience. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!